Two Ukrainian servicemen have been wounded in the Donbas conflict zone. Russian hybrid forces fired at Ukrainian military positions 11 times over the past day, but Ukrainian service personnel are always ready to repel any assault. Our correspondent went to the Frontline to talk to soldiers and find out more.
First thing, when I say dash, you dash. When I say not to go somewhere, don't go there. Don't step away left or right.
This is how soldiers get to their battle stations. So they don't get lost in the darkness, they have to stretch out their arm in front of themselves to feel whoever is walking in front of them. They only speak in whispers so that the enemy cannot find them in the dark. Russian-backed militants now start shooting at the Mariinka defenders to provoke them. Soldiers calmly observe the situation and ready their weapons in case the shooting intensifies. They are being covered by Stepan, a mannequin that imitates a soldier. The design is simple, yet he distracts the enemy well. Snipers using thermal vision are especially susceptible.
We pour hot water in it and install it somewhere. Separatists think that they are killing Private Stepan. Poor Stepan has already had 4 head transplants and 3 new helmets.
The enemy stopped shooting, so some of the Ukrainian soldiers returned to the underground trench to rest. The one who loses has to choose a song. The sounds of an old Ukrainian army song rise up quietly from the trench below. Conversations stop when the lookout reports that an enemy raiding party is approaching their position. As soon as the enemy gets closer, they start shooting. Ukrainian soldiers immediately spring into action. They return fire from different positions and rotate them all the time. This makes it hard for the militants to remember the exact location of the battle stations.
They search for us, look where we are, what we do, where we shoot from, to be able to fire directly. This is why we always try to rotate our battle stations to keep the enemy confused.
After getting a warm reception, the Russian hybrid forces group has to fall back. After this, they would only dare to fire single shots in the direction of the Ukrainian military.
It is slushy now like a swamp, so they have to hold their offensive actions. They cannot fire efficiently. Their trenches are knee-deep in water and mud.
When the weather is favorable, Ukrainian soldiers have short conversations with the Russian-backed militants. Recently, they even sang them a song.
They felt very bitter after I burned down their entrenchment and sang the song, "Fire Burn Bright." They were so bitter that they were shooting everything they had, but they let me off the hook after I burned their stockpile of ammunition.
A bit behind the fortifications is what used to be the residential area of the town. Now it is far beyond repair. None of the buildings survived unscathed. Most of the residents fled after the first artillery strikes were conducted by the Russian-backed militant. Over the span of nearly 5 years of war, their homes were turned into piles of rubble. The ones that still stand are far too dangerous to live in. The residential areas are still being shelled.
They don't care if these buildings are inhabited or not. You see, there is nothing here that could be connected to the military. The windows are not boarded up, nothing here. Locals left their belongings, took only documents and money. They won't be able to come back to their homes anymore.
In such a depressing atmosphere, soldiers need support from home. They have allocated a special place for the flag with wishes on it from the Ukrainian diaspora in Canada and for letters and drawings from kids.
We made this little corner so it could be seen that we're not forgotten, and that they know that we defend them and they support us. The support of people that live in peace, that are behind our backs, is very important. They pray for us. We really feel their support here.
The morning was calm, but not for long. The frontline town of Mariinka was saying goodbye to our film crew with the sounds of battle in the background.
Ой, валим, ребята!
They start firing our positions in the broad daylight.
Russian hybrid forces see this territory as sectors on the map, which they fire upon. They do not care whether there are civilians or Ukrainian military. They only stop when they get return fire. Soldiers say that the only language Russian militants understand is the language of violence. Reported by Ihor Medelian, UATV.